There's a lot of animation series on YouTube. Usually a lot of these animations have many people in a team working on them, whether that be the actual animation process, writing, storyboarding, editing, or even voice acting and composing. Many animations on YouTube offer a variety of aspects to the eyes of the viewer. Usually a lot of these animations are very creative, well written, or in this case, funny. One channel comes to mind, and that is Piemations.
Piemations, yeah!
Piemations is a channel that creates many types of animations, from his Meet the Amazing TF2 series, to his 5am at Freddy's series, to the series we'll be talking about today, that being the Suction Cup Man series. The Suction Cup Man series, starting October 4th, 2016 on both YouTube and Newgrounds, is a comedic animated series by Piemations that satirizes the real-life event from 2016, where a 19-year-old man named Stefan Regatta climbed up Trump Towers with nothing but suction cups. The series also takes loose inspiration from the 1997 animated series, South Park. The series follows comedic and sarcastic asshole Suction Cup Man, who endlessly tries to climb up the workplace towers of the ill-tempered Mr. Business, with nothing but suction cups. All just to piss off Mr. Business. Back and forth dialogue ensues. Suction Cup Man has 4 episodes total, 6 if you count the remake of the first episode, and Suction Cup Man fights a bird short. And today I'm reviewing and ranking each and every single one. I adore this series. It's my favorite of Piemations' channel, so this is gonna be a fun one for me. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell. All totally optional, but it'd be appreciated if you did. Without further ado, let's get right into this, or well, up to this, with Suction Cups no less. I'm sorry. The first ever Suction Cup Man episode. This one follows Mr. Business discovering Suction Cup Man randomly climbing up his tower with suction cups. They both have a back and forth argument with each other about Suction Cup Man being able to climb up his tower, and even then Mr. Business, after Suction Cup Man makes a comment about not seeing him climb up with suction cups, makes a small effort to climb up the tower with plungers, but he falls to his death. Then the police notice Suction Cup Man and request him to get him down from the tower. After a Son and him refusing to get off the tower, the cops shoot him down, and while he does get off the tower, he survives the gunshot and fall, as you cannot kill Suction Cup Man apparently. And that's it. It's a pretty short episode, and it's the shortest of them all. Already, you can tell that this one is heavily inspired by South Park, mostly because of the animation style, but also the concept of the video as well as the series as a whole, like I already mentioned in the intro of this video. This series is based off an actual real-life event where an actual 19-year-old man tried to climb up Trump Towers with suction cups. This is where the South Park inspiration comes in full. Basically, just like how South Park satirizes real-life events and people and all the works, Suction Cup Man is doing the exact same thing with this real-life situation with the climate of suction cups and doing it in a South Park comedic style. It makes the video much more enjoyable to watch, especially knowing this information. It's good satire. All around though, this first episode is very funny. The jokes are pretty good. A lot of the jokes in this series are heavily dialogue based, and since this is a video of South Park animation, facial expression jokes or gags aren't present in this one, unlike the other Piemations animations and other episodes of this series where the animation style ends up changing a bit more to be original. The dialogue is pretty good and comical though. My favorite 2 lines are when Suction Cup Man says,
"For a guy in a suit, you're pretty fucking stupid!"
and when the cop says at the end,
Well, son of a bitch.
I just love how he says it, and he gives that fucking South Park shit-eating smile. Perfect. The back and forth between Suction Cup Man and Mr. Business is genuinely fun banter to listen and watch because it's basically 2 assholes fighting each other. It's funny. And it's even funnier when the goofiest and less likely to succeed asshole of the 2, Suction Cup Man, is the one that ends up being on top by the end. For a guy in a suit, Mr. Business is pretty fucking stupid. Suction Cup Man's little quick song is hilarious.
Goes a little something like this. Fuck you!
Despite the animation being basically South Park's animation, but with very few visual changes, it's accurate to the show's style and everything, which I heavily appreciate. The voice acting is also pretty good too. The voices in this series are basically the voices we'll come to know and love for the rest of the series, and the voice actors do and will continue to pull off excellent performances with their characters that give each of them personality, from Suction Cup Man to Mr. Business to even the cop. Something I also really like about this episode is how it's basically perfect as the first episode. Essentially, it has all the main hallmarks and traditions for a Suction Cup Man episode. Suction Cup Man climbing up towers with suction cups, Suction Cup Man and Mr. Business having a back and forth interaction, a lot of swearing, usually from Suction Cup Man himself, and the swearing usually being a fuck you, often an appearance from the cops or some type of authority, Suction Cup Man often having a song to troll the antagonist, and Suction Cup Man being immortal. All of these are aspects that continue on in the series and are staples with the character in the episodes. All around, I got nothing else to really say about this one. It's the shortest episode, and it suffices as a good first episode to what will become an amazing series. Like I've already stated, it has all the hallmarks of what a Suction Cup Man episode will be. Good humor and satire, accurate animation, excellent voice performance, pretty great all around. However, what if I told you that this video could be better? Case in point. The remaster for the original Suction Cup Man. This was released after the second and third episodes of the series. Now already this one is better than the original, mostly in the animation department. It goes for a more original style than the South Park animation style that the original had. However, there are remnants of that original animation still in there, so therefore the charm of the video is intact. The plot is basically the exact same as the original, so I'm not going to describe it again. Same with the jokes and comedy. Also the same voice lines and everything too. However, the voices sound much more defined, which is good for what would end up becoming a series. Now, one thing I noticed about this one in comparison to the original is that thanks to the somewhat upgraded animation, it allows the characters to be more expressive. There are more hand movements, more facial expressions. It feels less limited and feels much more creative, as we'll see later on in the series. Those kind of facial expressions and other choppy but still decent looking animations bring a certain charm to the series and makes it much more enjoyable to watch. One joke they added that wasn't in the original was the final frame of the episode itself being Mr. Business's little incident, if you know what I mean. It just adds some final laugh for the animation that is also kind of sad and dark. It also somewhat hints to what happens to him a little bit. We know he's alive by the second episode, but still, it's hilarious. Now, the frame of the cop saying,
"Well, son of a bitch,"
with the open shading smile afterwards is not as funny as the original. The South Park animation style from the original made that frame more goofy in a comedic and funny way, so seeing that kind of polished is just iffy for me. This is a remaster though, so Piemations can't really do that, and it's honestly just a nitpick of mine at the end of the day, so yeah. Otherwise, I really dig this remaster of the original Suction Cup Man. Sure, it's literally almost the exact same with the plot and jokes, which it could have had a tiny bit more to be fair, mostly in the joke department. However, the upgraded animation is getting us used to what will come of the series. The jokes are still funny, plus the new one they add in the end. It's much more expressive and wacky in a good way, and all around, this is a decent remaster that I do place above the original. Now, let's get into some newer stuff. This is where things get interesting. Oh boy, this next episode is also pretty damn good. This one has Suction Cup Man being asked by Trump and the American government to go to North Korea and somehow foil Kim Jong-un's plans to bomb America with his suction cups, being used for good instead of evil for once. Suction Cup Man agrees and is sent to North Korea, where he's discovered by Kim Jong-un to be climbing up his missile. After some taunting from Suction Cup Man, he admits pretty comedically that he was hired by the American government, which leads to Kim Jong-un launching the missile. After what seems like the death of the Suction Cup Man, it turns out, nah, he survived it all. Look at him go. Kim Jong-un gives up, and Suction Cup Man, as part of the deal, is granted his one free Suction Cup climb of anything he wants, which he uses it to visit Mr. Business in the hospital, following his fall from the first episode. This episode was just as funny as the first episode, maybe even more. Suction Cup Man was just hilarious as usual with his line deliveries, as well as his lines in general. His 2 songs he's got in this episode, and so much more. This one in particular is hilarious.
Well, you're a bitch! You're a bitch! You're a bitch! Bitch!
They continue doing the same thing with Suction Cup Man in this video, but it works because it feels a bit more expanded, and I think it's thanks to the stakes of this video in comparison to the first. In this video, he's put in a much more bigger situation, as it literally involves North Korea this time round. However, him just trolling Kim Jong-un, which is just so satisfying to watch, and is a pretty unique way to continue the series after the first part. It also just goes to show Suction Cup Man's abilities can actually be used for good and not just to mess around. It gives more layers to the whole deal of Suction Cup Man, and it's pretty nice all around. Otherwise, this episode keeps its charm from the first, and that was really nice and appreciated to see. This episode also has some pretty good continuity, as it does genuinely serve to be a continuation from the first episode with some lines in the ending to the episode. This video also just has other very hilarious moments to it. The Trump and Kim Jong-un parodies were hilarious as they are exaggerated to a degree where it's not obnoxious, but it's still on the nose in a good way. They were both handled well in this. I also thought the Suction Cup Man death fake out in this one in particular to be hilarious due to how it comedically tries to set up a serious moment with it, but it's instantly dropped when it's revealed Suction Cup Man survived. Good comedic subversion. The Cars script being in the newspaper was a cool Easter egg to catch eye of. And finally, the ending of Suction Cup Man visiting Mr. Business in the hospital to mess with him is pretty twisted yet hilarious. This goes to further show how much of a lovable asshole Suction Cup Man is. I also say that the animation in this episode is similar to the current style, but not completely. The true art style of this show will be shown in episode 3 and would further remain the way it is in the remake of the first episode, and so on and so forth. However, the animation is still pretty good here. The movements of the characters were pretty good, the color choices are pretty cool, the shading is nice, and all that is pretty good. Also, finally, I don't know if this is intentional, but the fact this episode is 4 minutes and 20 seconds in length is hilarious. Otherwise, I enjoyed this episode. Of course, there's better in this series, but hey, it's still pretty good. This episode shows how much of a good character Suction Cup Man is, and if an episode is able to do that, it's a pretty damn good episode of the show. Pretty solid all around. Now we're getting to some real good shit. So this episode shows Suction Cup Man fucking around with Mr. Business yet again, until he's drifted away to the highway and then killed. Suction Cup Man then wakes up in hell, and he's greeted by Satan. Suction Cup Man also fucks around with him too, and then escapes hell through the conveniently placed hole in the ceiling. He's then revived back on Earth to a bunch of commotion with cops and Mr. Business on the scene. This episode is one of my personal favorites for how it pretty much expands more on the traits there are to Suction Cup Man. In particular, the one revolving around the fact you cannot kill Suction Cup Man. Look at him go! Sorry. Anyway, I like that this episode focuses around that, and we get some type of explanation on how he pulls this off. I guess he's just able to mess around with Satan and then escapes through that hole, although he acts like this is all new to him when he's in hell in the episode, so I don't know. It brings up the question of what happened in the first episode with him surviving the gunshot, resulting in him landing on the hard pavement then. Either way, conceptually, this episode is unique, and the execution of the idea throughout makes this a complete standout too. This episode is also really elevated by the banter between Suction Cup Man and Satan. I love how Suction Cup Man just does not take Satan seriously at all. I think the fact Suction Cup Man is going up against someone of high authority and power, in comparison to Mr. Business, who's just a normal guy, or the cops who are just kind of just normal people, make this particular episode all more funnier and iconic. Even with someone as scary and intense as Satan, Suction Cup Man will not stop his nonsensical bullshit. Even comes with some very hilarious lines like the ketchup comparison, the god talk at the beginning of the hell scene, I said it first, you're the most fucked, as well as the eat a dick song. All 4 of those being quite memorable jokes from the episode too. The banter between Suction Cup Man and Mr. Business is as good as always in this one. I also just love how when Suction Cup Man dies on the highway, Mr. Business has a hilarious facial expression and quickly closes his office window, acting like he had no involvement in what just happened. I also think an underrated moment in this video that made me chuckle is when the cop said he knows who Suction Cup Man is and won't arrest Mr. Business. It just shows how much chaos comes from Suction Cup Man, even if it's just through a small line of dialogue. I also think it's kind of cool that it's revealed what the company Mr. Business works for does, which is making cleaning products. Neat kind of world building in a way, especially for Mr. Business. As well, this is the episode where the animation style of the series is truly refined, and as it is, it's very good. I love the facial expressions characters started doing in this episode, the oddly comical movements, the textures, the backgrounds, etc. I also like tiny stuff on how Mr. Business is explaining to the cop about what happened with Suction Cup Man. You have the 3 cops in the background with their own animations of them either looking around, examining the area, and then when Suction Cup Man is back to life, they all look at him right away with honestly some very peak facial expressions. It's all genuinely well done, and I'm glad they stick to this high quality animation, even if it's still meant to look intentionally shitposty, akin to the original Suction Cup Man episodes in South Park. All around, a very fantastic episode. I love this one a lot, and the next episode is, dare I say, even better. Here it is, at long last, my favorite episode to come out of Suction Cup Man. There's so much to love about this one, it's nuts. Pun not intended. Anyway, the added runtime / length of the video definitely broadens its potential, and my god, the potential has been fully met with this one. Mostly because the execution for such a unique concept is well done. Also yes, the unique concept. I like how this episode focuses on what would happen if Suction Cup Man wasn't Suction Cup Man, as in, what would his life be without his precious suction cups? We get to see that in full display and the results are hilarious. After having enough of his bullshit, Mr. Business takes Suction Cup Man to court where his suction cups are ordered to be seized and auctioned off. His suction cups end up getting seized after all, and then it results in a pretty fun montage of Suction Cup Man finding different ways to climb up Mr. Business's tower, each of the ways having their own unique results, all of them resulting in failing, but he fails in some pretty interesting ways, okay? Then he becomes depressed. As a result, he goes to a sex store, and with the help of the cashier there, which by the way, her character, especially her name, is a cool nod to the Mike and Zack animations, Suction Cup Man gets a whole bunch of dildos to climb up Mr. Business's tower, and yet again, starts his antics back up. Mr. Business comes to the conclusion he would rather Suction Cup Man climb his tower with suction cups instead of cocks. So Suction Cup Man gets his suction cups back. Also, Mr. Business just now has cocks in his office. Again, this is the peak of the series. The main reason being that this episode is by far the funniest the series has gotten. There's a lot of visual jokes I really liked, such as the up-close frame of Mr. Business, the middle finger in the Climber of the Year, the galore of facial expressions, and just much more. There's obviously the whole penis man and dildos aspect, which leads to some of the best banter I've ever seen between Suction Cup Man and Mr. Business. Mr. Business's reactions to what is happening is what really sells it and makes this part of the episode so memorable and comedic. It's also even more subtle to how Zack, the voice actor for Mr. Business, does his line deliveries during the scene, which, by the way, I'll get into the voice acting later. As well, we haven't even gotten to my favorite part of the whole video, that being the scene where Suction Cup Man is sitting at a bench and a man shows up to seemingly give Suction Cup Man some wonderful wisdom at first. Then the guy literally just doesn't give him wisdom at all and gets up and says goodbye and walks away. I laughed so hard at that shit, oh my god. No scene in this series comes close to this moment, I'm afraid. Also, I mentioned this in the section for the very first episode, but I'll mention it again. The voice acting in this series is genuinely really good. From Suction Cup Man, to Mr. Business, to the cops, to the cashier, to the judge, to Satan, to Trump, or Kim Jong-un, just this series never really misses when it comes to its voice acting. This episode in particular highlights that really well for a lot of the line deliveries from the characters, especially Suction Cup Man, Mr. Business, and the judge. As well, while we're on the technical side of things, the animation remains really good. I noticed there's more experimentation done here with certain shots. There's also stuff like the comedic frame of Mr. Business I mentioned earlier. Hell, there's even a frame with Suction Cup Man with dark lighting that ends up setting up the tone of that particular scene really well. I also think how they've centered the dildos in this episode was well done in a way where it wasn't distracting at all, and honestly made the episode way more funnier than its uncensored version, which yes, exists an uncensored version on Newgrounds. And while I'm talking about stuff like this, please do not look up Suction Cup Man therapy. Fucking don't. Biggest mistake of my life right there. I also like the characterization a lot in this episode. Suction Cup Man is at his best in this episode as well as Mr. Business. We get to see more sides to each of their characters here. We get to see a more depressed but also later on a more proud and confident than the usual Suction Cup Man. As for Mr. Business, we get to see a side of him that's actually willing to let Suction Cup Man be himself by the end and climb his tower. While still reluctant, it's a notable approach for the character that I especially like. I also thought the judge was a pretty good character, mostly just for the comedic angle. Same with the cops. What a wacky situation is something that I quote all the fucking time. Also, I thought it was cute that it's first implied ever in this episode that the cops are gay and married simply due to the little wedding rings they have in their fingers. I also like how it was subtle too. All around though, this episode is simply fantastic. Not only is this my favorite episode of the series, this is also Mike from Piemations' favorite video he's ever made. Also, side tangent, I remember being there live for his behind the scenes stream after this episode's release, and him breaking his hand live on stream while demonstrating the dildo sound effects. God.
Oh yeah, that'd be
Critical gets
TO
away with it.
rival.
Oh my god! Did that just happen live?
Yeah! I also got a real fucking big cut in my hand. Oh!
Oh my god!
Don't tell anyone how this happened.
Are you good? You alright?
Yeah, can one of you bring me a band-aid?
Anyway though, yeah, this is the series' true peak, without a doubt. So this is the last piece of Suction Cup media that's released currently as of writing this script, unless you count stuff like that one sticker ad. And for the final one, this one is in a cartoon short type of format, complete with a title card to start the video off. I really like this, as it's a different type of approach for the series. It allows for so much potential, which in my opinion it's delivered here. Firstly, the concept is so on brand. Suction Cup Man literally beefing with a bird is just perfect, especially for something as minuscule as a short. Secondly, I love how a lot of this video is purely just slapstick humor, at least when it comes to Suction Cup Man actually going up against a bird. The video is just really enjoyable that way. It makes way for some funny gags and moments. This is especially helped by the fact that there's barely any dialogue in this video besides Suction Cup Man making noises and Mr. Business coming in at the end with literally one-line dialogue. A lot of this video's humor is purely visual based and I love it. One of my personal favorite visual based gags was Suction Cup Man doing the Family Guy death pose. That was fucking hilarious. I also think Mr. Business getting hit was hilarious too. Speaking of visual humor, I think the animation in this short is as good as always. The character movements are good, the textures look pretty solid, I like the character design of the bird, and by far the best part about the animation in this short, the fucking backgrounds. The backgrounds are the best they've ever been in the series in this particular short. I really love the color choices for the sky in particular, as well as the lighting on the buildings. This video genuinely looks gorgeous at times. It definitely helps with the tone of the video's ending, which leads on to my final point about this video. The ending is fantastic. Suction Cup Man befriending the bird was genuinely sweet and wholesome. Something I wouldn't have expected from this series if I'm honest. It was certainly a unique approach for this short, and I'm glad Piemations went this route with it. It's even topped with the bird helping Suction Cup Man climb up the tower, which was the cherry on top. By far my favorite aspect of the video. Despite it not being an actual episode, this is my second favorite thing to come out of this series for sure. Business or Pleasure has slightly more aspects to it that make me prefer that episode, I'm sorry. However, this was still fantastic, and I hope Piemations makes more short-form videos of Suction Cup Man in the future. Simply because for their first, they really did pretty wonderful to say the least. Before I speak on the conclusion of this fantastic series, here's my ranking of the episodes from worst to best. Suction Cup Man the original, Suction Cup Man Remastered, Suction Cup Man 2 The Suck for America, Suction Cup Man 3 One Hell of a Climb, Suction Cup Man Fights a Bird, and Suction Cup Man 4 Business or Pleasure. Yeah, I know it's pretty much the series order besides the top two, but that should ultimately prove one thing. That being the improvement of the series as it went on. When it comes to indie animation, especially on YouTube, improving your work as you keep going as it is always something to strive for, and that is something Piemations will always be good at. Piemations have been around for years, and even to this day, I can tell he's still improving on both his animation and writing skills. Suction Cup Man is just a good indicator of that. Starting off as a simple South Park parody, with it ending up as an original series with its own charm and edge. There's nothing on YouTube like Suction Cup Man. It's purely a series that always keeps the audience guessing with its comedy and memorable characters, and honestly, that's just admirable. I can't wait for the 5th episode in the series. It's been in the works for a while now, and maybe when that episode releases, I'll make a video talking about it. We'll see. For now, keep sucking.